we get Adam Copeland coming down to the ring, and he just comes out and says, "Hey, a lot of BS has been spewed this week, and screw that. He wants to talk about positivities, positive things in pro wrestling." And he goes on a little bit of a monologue here where he watched this and this and this and this. And so he loves pro wrestling. So it's okay if you watch X, Y, and Z. Okay. Before I guess I share my thoughts, Tim, let's fill the people in on what he may be alluding to, and then let me get your thoughts and if you got any threads to go along with it.
We do have a threads. Let me shout out the threads here. I believe this is Miss Malaki says, Adam Copeland telling CM Punk to go fuck himself in the sweetest way possible. Hashtag AEW Dynamite. Definitely peppered with that. To say the least, if not the whole purpose of the promo. It did feel like AEW's response to like what the CM Punk interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani was. And man, you know, I have never been an MMA fan, but I have heard from you over the 15 close to years now we've been friends.
You were my producer on an MMA show.
And there we go. And so I've known who this person is, right? And I've always thought, like, this guy's kind of, a little bit of a, I don't like this guy. But I'm not really plugged into that world, so it never really bothered me. But now we've had a couple iterations of this guy very skewed in this idea of this tribalism that exists amongst AEW and WWE, which we are the All Elite Wrap-Up, and we are AEW marks, and we love AEW, and we do have reasons why we don't like WWE, but we're here to say, I don't give a shit, right? Like, don't give a shit, right? Like, we're just trying to watch the show and watch what we like and talk to people that like it also. So, the CM Punk interview came out, and it's scathing, and I don't think I have to fill in a whole lot of people about that, right? But it did feel like, again, CM Punk doesn't take accountability and everything's everybody else's fault, right? Like, there could be, I'm not to discount that some of the things that annoyed CM Punk over there were probably valid things that annoyed him. It might have annoyed me too, right? The guy doesn't seem to think that when he's like, so I just choked a guy, that's not okay, right? Like, that's a little weird, right? So that's what it felt like again. It's like, here goes CM Punk again, talking about how, like, I did everything right. I was a perfect angel and couldn't have done anything wrong. And these, like, outrageous things just started happening around me that I had to go into self-defense mode. And you know what? I personally think I'm siding with Tony Schiavone on this one, and I don't give a shit. Right? Like, I don't give a shit what that guy has to say. He clearly has a problem taking, like, responsibility for shit in his life. So I don't really care, like, what he has to say.
Yeah, I would say this. There's a lot to unpack here. So before we get to Adam Copeland's comments, I do want to talk about what he was referring to. I will say, in CM Punk's defense, he went on an interview show and he answered the questions that were asked to him, right? He didn't say, sure, hey, by the way, I got this match that I'm going to be commentating, Seth Rollins with Drew McIntyre, but let me tell you, fuck the Young Bucks. Like, he didn't do that. You know what I mean? Now, they were maybe teed up for him, and he knocked it out of the park, as you could say. Also, I wouldn't discredit Ariel Helwani, because this was the first time, at least to my knowledge, that we've had a sit down out of the ring, out of a WWE produced interview. You know what I mean? This wasn't a backstage thing where Kathy Kelly's asking CM Punk questions. This was a close to an hour sit down. And for Ariel to not ask about, hey, where'd you come from, would be disingenuous. Now, here's the thing that I'll say.
Ariel is disingenuous.
This is what I want to
say. He didn't do that with Triple H.
Well, he didn't. And so here's the thing, is because Ariel Helwani has been doing MMA coverage since AOL Fan House 2007, right? He has been in this space forever. And he comes from the University of Syracuse, which is one of the greatest journalism schools in America. He is well respected by legit people. Well, yeah, he's respected by legit people like Bob Costas, as just an example, and others as well. And so when he does MMA, he's as good as it gets for an interview. Now his, breaking of stories, editorials, there's other people, right? Ben Folks, Chad Dundas, anyhow. But when he dips his toe over into the pro wrestling world, he's compromised because the person who runs WWE now, Nick Khan, used to be Ariel's agent. So they have a very good relationship. Legitimately, the only reason he's not his agent is because Nick Khan took the WWE job. Like, it was up until the day that Nick Khan said, going to take a job with WWE, Ariel was represented by him. So in no way can he, I shouldn't say no way, but he is definitely skewed to help out his buddy, right?
He's on the end, right? He's friendly.
But to me, this is where it's just like, then stay out, right? So later on in that podcast, or whatever you want to call it, episode, he does an interview with Rhea Ripley. Becky Lynch comes in, tries to start like a little fight. Fine, right? MTV's done that. VH1's done that. So many shows have played along with the pro wrestling kind of gimmick. I can remember on TRL, Raven hitting DDP with a stop sign over his head, right? So we've had
the
those
Tonight
examples.
Show's probably had countless times where somebody's coming in and beat
Tonight
somebody
Show
up.
was taken. The Tonight Show was taken over by Hollywood Hogan and Eric Bischoff one night. Remember when Jay Leno was about to wrestle?
That's true. I remember.
And so those things are fine. But when you then say, okay, but we're taking that hat off and now we're going to be journalistic, that's where the issue comes. It's because then you're not objective. You're subjective because you have your friend who works for this company. I will also say, to his credit, he has also had AEW people on. The way he kind of got into this controversy with Tony Khan is he booked MJF, and AEW has a certain way of doing it. Apparently, Ariel did not follow that, and neither did MJF, so it pissed off Tony Khan. Bad interview with Tony Khan. Now we don't like each other, right? So my issue with Ariel is just stay out, right? Not to stay in your lane, like shut up and dribble. I'm not saying that, but like if you can't be the journalist that you are in the MMA space, don't do it in pro wrestling. Just say you're a fan, say you like that The Rock did a segment, and keep it moving, right? Now, I have a little issue, just a touch of an issue with what Adam Copeland said tonight. Because as I've said, kind of my 2024 pro wrestling mantra is pro wrestling is big enough to like and dislike whatever it is that you want and don't want, and that's okay. As long as you're not just like, well, fuck that, like don't be a jerk. But if you don't like Lucha Libre,
watch what you want to watch.
Right.
Well, watch what we want to watch.
Exactly. And that's fine, right? The thing that I take a little bit of issue with, and I haven't been able to verbalize it. I said it on Threads that it's okay if you only like one promotion and it's okay if you like 40 promotions. Okay.
Right.
The thing is, with this tribalism taboo word that is frustrating is I'm not tribalistic just because I like one show. Right. Like if you tell me, hey, it's WrestleMania week, are you going to watch WrestleMania night 1 and 2? If I respond by saying, no, man, I'm going to watch Ring of Honor on Friday night, and then I'll probably watch the women's and men's NCAA basketball tournament. Your response to me should never be, well, what the fuck? You don't like
Shouldn't
it.
be anger.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Don't be angry at me because of what I like and dislike. That's the thing and then you use the word tribalism to me in this example, and it's not fair, not to get political here, but it's almost like the word woke, right? We just use the word woke to be anything I don't fucking like, right? Oh, you don't like channel 42, you must be woke. It's like, no, I just don't like those fucking people. You know what I mean? Now
it means
again,
empathy, but you know what I mean?
But
in the broad sense,
how it's being,
but
it's being weaponized, right? And I feel
correct. And so is this. So is the tribalism.
I feel like this is being weaponized against people who say, I just like this thing, right? Like your shirt. Let's just say, as an example, you love Nick Gage, right? That's your style of wrestling that you love, right? But let's just go along with that. But let's just go along with that example a little bit.
Hold
If
on, you
that's a
were ready to
style of,
run off with this man into the
I
night and
love
rob
him.
a bank with him when we
I
met together.
fucking always love him. Yes. Yeah. I love Nick Gage.
I think you
Love
felt him up a little bit on that hug. I think you
No,
were
I
like,
wanted to be like blood brothers. If he would have been like slit your wrist, I'd be like, yep, let's do it. You know, like let's join
absolutely. I
blood
know.
together.
I
Yeah.
know.
Love him.
I still love that we skipped the line and gave them like a 20 when it was supposed to be like $100.
Yeah, that's fine.
They were just like, hurry it up. Get the fuck out
Yeah,
of here.
get out of here. Yeah. But to continue with that point, if the only style of wrestling you like is death match, just as an example, if I come to you and I'm like, dude, Inta versus Ricky Starks was insane. If you were to say like, I don't like that, again, my reaction can't be like, oh, so you just don't like fucking wrestling? Oh my God. So, dude, do you
you're
know
an E-mark or whatever the fuck these
Yeah.
terms are?
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
That's
I can't
the
stand
part. Yeah. And so that's the part when wrestling fans are like, but I like this and this and this and that. That doesn't make you a better wrestling fan than me. And it also doesn't make you better or worse. You know what I mean? So like if you watch TNA, AEW, WWE, fucking cool. But if I say I don't like TNA and you're like, you don't know that the Motor City Machine Guns left? No, like obviously I do, but you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I didn't see their last match. Oh, you must not be a wrestling fan. The fuck I am. You know what I mean? And so I take a little bit of issue with tribalism being weaponized as well, if you don't watch everything and you don't know everything, then you're not a wrestling fan.
Yeah. It's almost as if they're accusing you of when you say, because I'm absolutely not going to watch any bit of WrestleMania. I'm not making a statement by saying that, but that's what they accuse you of, right?
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
not saying I'm not watching them because I think they were run by a sexual predator and a person there. I mean, that's part of the reason I don't like them. But my primary reason is I don't like that show, and I think it's boring, and I think it's fucking subsurface level storylines, and it's bullshit, and I don't like it. It's over commercialized nonsense. It doesn't feel real in the slightest, right? I understand none of it's real, but so that's it right there. This tribalism goes all over the place with that, right? And there's various reasons to watch or to not watch something, right? I'll hear all kinds of reasons on why you don't watch something, right? Like, I don't watch because I don't like this company's stance on this, or I don't watch because I don't like what it is, right? I just don't like it. But for you, the reason to watch something being anything other than like, I have a good time watching it is a little weird to me, right? If there's any other reason outside of that, right?
Yeah.
If you're telling me like, oh man, they make so much more money or they sell much more merch, I'm like, okay, that can be true, but like, that shouldn't be a reason why I'm picking to watch it versus another programming is really weird to me. It's really dumb. But like, with the whole tribalism thing, one thing I really need to let people know, especially with the fucking CM Punk thing who won't go away, what I need people to understand, and this goes broader, right? This goes to the woke side of things as well, right? Guys, you don't fucking know, right? I see people saying like, well, clearly this is a Jack Perry problem. He grew up a spoiled rich kid and wants everything given to him. You don't fucking know him. You also weren't here in this situation. You didn't see it. You don't know. You also don't run a company. You can't be like, Tony Khan just doesn't have his shit together. You don't fucking know. What the fuck is wrong with all these armchair executives and armchair people all of a sudden being like, well, I tell you what, if they would have just... You don't fucking know. God damn, spare me all your faux fucking wisdom, people. You don't fucking know shit. Yeah. Like, you don't know shit. There are plenty of logical statements you can make from not knowing shit, but how everything everybody else is saying about like what should have happened, who should have said what, who ruined what, who drew what, who's smarter than who got the fucking short of the stick. None of you know jack shit. So all these declarative statements are just, I'm done with them all. Like it's really listen to everybody's favorite uncle, the calming voice in pro wrestling, Tony Schiavone. You don't need to give a shit about any of this.
Right. Yeah. The last thing that I would say about tribalism is it's not unique to pro wrestling. There are plenty of people who only wear Nikes. There are plenty of people who only eat McDonald's over Burger King. You know what I mean? So like, right? If you only drink Coca-Cola and I come up to you like, dude, you don't want a fucking Pepsi? Oh, you don't want Sprite? Like, I don't know if there's, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you don't, so you must not like soft drinks. You must not like soft drinks. It's like, It's not the flavor I like. Or, with shoes, the shoe doesn't really fit me that well. I have a different foot, so I prefer New Balances or whatever it is, right? We don't shame people and be like, you should get Jordans, you fucking pussy. Like, no, right? No. So that's what I'll say there, and I'll leave it at
it
that.
does
But
feel
let's keep
weird.
it moving.
I will say this. Tinfoil Hat Timmy says, curious timing for WWE for a bombshell interview that was supposed to be not to happen because of an NDA when other crazy news hit the fan about some of their goings. But whatever.
Yeah, we will wait till more things are out about that to maybe discuss it, or maybe not. We'll find out.
Or maybe not, because we're the All Elite wrap-up, and we're going to talk about Dynamite. Now, that was Adam Copeland, right? He had that open. It was a nice pump-up speech. He really felt it. And so not to shit on him there, right? He went out and did what he was supposed to do, right?
Of course, yeah.
And did it fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, if he feels that way, that's great. That's like, I'm not shaming him. I'm just saying, don't shame me because of XYZ. Right. So let's keep it moving.